Test one, test two, test one, test two. Getting my levels together. Test one, test two. For all those who will see this podcast or this broadcast later on, forgive me. We're getting our levels together to be able to broadcast. So as I do that, we're going to prepare for today's subject, and we're streaming live on YouTube as well. So let's go. Peace and blessings, guys. Please bear with me. We are recording for a podcast. Going to talk about some very, very sensitive, a very, very sensitive topic. And just, y'all got to firstly forgive me. Just experienced a very traumatizing situation. Went to school to give my sons their Valentine's Day candy, and went to my 5-year-old's class, and he wasn't there, and they hadn't seen him. And at this point, we had him in class. Well, he had left the house for well over 2 hours, and it was just amazing to us. So. All right, peace and blessings for any of you guys who are watching this right now. Thank you so much for tuning in. And hopefully, them beats. Okay. Peace and blessings, them beats. I was trying to give them beats a day off. He was spending time with the wife. So, again, guys, just y'all gotta forgive me. I'm a little behind today. David, I was giving you today off because you are with your wife. You know what I mean? Today's Valentine's and you had plans, so I apologize, bro. However, had a very rough morning, guys. Like I said, had a scare with my son. But this is not going to stop this podcast today, and we're going to do something a little different. We're going to try something a little different. We got a phone number that you guys can call in, and if you want, David, call in if you want for this particular podcast so we can get this thing together. Want to test out the new podcast number anyway, see if we can work these things out. Peace and blessings, guys. I appreciate you guys being, and please bear with me. Had a rough morning. My son was missing in school today, and I'm going to probably repeat this a couple of times, and I don't think I'm going to let this particular video be listed, but my 5-year-old son was missing this morning from school. No one knew where he was. We were just there. Me and my wife was just there to drop off their Valentine's Day candy and everything, and got to his class, and he wasn't there, and no one knew where he was, so the whole school's like on alert now, and come to find out he was in the bathroom the entire time, just, you know, so, yeah, man, you know, you can't even make this stuff up. Anyways, guys, so, you know, bear with me, man, I'm a little off, but I wanted to talk to you guys about something very serious, and a very serious topic. I'm going to wait for David to see if he can call in. and we're gonna get this subject's topic because it's this topic that we're talking about being blackballed in the industry applies to you guys. It's a very serious topic, and there's so much that we can talk about on this, and I really think it's important as you guys want to create a career in the music industry. The recent events that has happened with comedian Nique and Steve Harvey is now it's being a resurfaced topic, even though it's over a year old. But finally, the sister Nique was able to speak with Steve Harvey on his show, and it was quite overwhelming, the conversation they had. First and foremost, please and blessings to Pearl Manhattan. She says, my son is autistic and wanders. I have so much empathy for you. Hugs. Thank you so much. It's a feeling that I've never felt before in my life. It wasn't the way I wanted to start this podcast. But I tell you what, that it definitely opens your eyes and humbles you when you are powerless over a situation like that. You know, when you put your faith and trust that when that your child leaves you, that they are safe, they're in a good place, and everything is going to go to plans. Well, that wasn't the case this morning. So thank you so much for that, Pearl Manhattan. I really appreciate that. And again, this is for a podcast, so I don't expect a lot of you guys to be party to this particular YouTube video because it may not be a subject that you guys want to talk about. And it's also Thursday, so people are probably at work. However, in this particular podcast, we definitely want to delve into being blackballed and all the things that come with that. So if you guys are not familiar and you don't know what's been going on, Nique, the comedian and actress, celebrity. I mean, beautiful woman, her and her husband, Sydney, great people. Nique is a very, very, very talented person. Very talented. She has the gift of comedy. She has the gift of sincerity. She has the gift of love. She has the gift of unique understanding. Nique, and I've never met her personally, but Nique is one of those people that you can just find yourself saying, you know, hey sister, hey mama, whatever, you know, you want to call her, and find a sincere, compassionate person that if they say something, that's what they mean. And in the last year, for those who have not been really keeping up with this particular situation, Nique had a situation where you all know she starred in the movie Precious. And so Lee Daniels, which was the acting supervisor or acting director over that, who was also funded and supported by Tyler Perry, along with Oprah Winfrey, had a situation to where he wanted Nique to do more promotion for the show and go overseas and promote the show. And anyone who knows, I think, you know, we can Google this. However, I'm pretty sure the movie Precious grossed, let's see, the movie Precious grossed $47 million. $47 million the movie Precious grossed. And in that particular movie, Nique only was paid $250,000, okay? She felt a certain type of way. Real quick, I like to acknowledge those who say something in the chat. So Anthony Adams, I appreciate you so much, brother. Thank you for watching. I'm glad my information can help you guys out. And bear with me because I got a train going by. However, the movie Precious grossed $47 million. Nique only made $250,000 out of that. And anyone who's watched the movie know that Nique was the core behind that movie. She was the celebrity of that movie. You know, the young sister who played Precious, this was a up-and-coming role for her. This really made her and broke her into the industry. So Nique was really the capstone on top of that pyramid that really made it shine. And so firstly, she got paid that $250,000 to perform. And let me explain something to you guys. $250,000 sound like a lot. It sounds like a lot. But when your expenses are anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 a month, okay, you're looking at $100,000 right there alone in bills, okay? So depending on what your expenses are, but most celebrities' expenses are anywhere between $8,000 to $10,000 to $15,000 a month. I know because our expenses exceeded that in California. So when you look at that $250,000, that $250,000, if she's a moderate and conservative person, her expenses, that will cover 2 years of her expenses, okay? But to stay on track, they wanted her to promote. Lee Daniels wanted her to promote and market that particular movie, and she had already accomplished her contractual duties. She did everything that her contract stipulated for her to do. Okay. And what happened was, and let me say this real quickly because I've seen a question in the chat. Stephen Smalls definitely will give you opportunity to answer that question. I want to stay on top because this is for a podcast. Yeah, definitely will answer that question. You might have to call in though so we can ask it because I do have a phone number you guys can call in. But anyway, let me get back to my point. Long story short, because Monique would not promote based on what they wanted her to do, they blackballed her. They labeled her a pain. She's hard to work with. It was so many things being said, and I'm not saying it verbatim. I just know that she was blackballed. And in the industry as a whole, because what I want people to understand and what people have tried to do is separate the TV and film industry from the music industry, and they go hand in hand, which I keep teaching you guys. In the industry, when you are blackballed, that's pretty much it for you. That is pretty much it for you in your career. You can pretty much hang it up. You can kiss all that goodbye if you can do some B movies or someone who's up and coming in the movie industry or an indie label who decides to work with you. You may get lucky, okay? But your credentials is all you have. And so in a recent interview, and we're going to play that interview in the podcast once we're done. However, in a recent interview with Steve Harvey, a lot of things were said that I don't agree with from the side of Steve Harvey. Okay? I don't agree with it, and I'll be open and honest with you. I don't agree with it because of the context in which it was said and how it becomes applicable to the situation. So, in that conversation that Steve Harvey, and I'm going to jump right in that conversation that Steve Harvey and Monique had, Steve said that it was not the correct way to go about handling it. He said that it was not the way she handled it and how she handled it, broadcasting the business out there and how she did it was not the correct way in handling it, and that she could have did it differently. Steve also said that it wasn't a black or white thing, it was a money thing. Monique countered that with values, morals, integrity. And Steve agreed but didn't agree. And this has been a subject of topic because it's very picky and it's very a sensitive topic for one simple reason, guys. Monique blasted America's sweethearts, the two male and female dominating people in the African American entertainment business, which is Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey. America's sweethearts. Next to Beyonce, these people are it. And so it becomes a issue because of what she said. She said, SMD, suck my, and all those other things. And she gave her truth. Now, my question to you guys is this. Here's my question. If you are put in a situation where you no longer can feed your family, you no longer, as a producer, artist, whatever it is you are, you no longer can feed your family. You no longer can work and provide for them because you have been blackballed and labeled difficult to work with, all because you chose not to do or go above and beyond your contractual duties. Not that you didn't fulfill them, but you didn't decide to go above and beyond for free. What would you have done? What would you have done if you were put in that same situation? You no longer can work. You have been labeled difficult. And you've been labeled by the titans of the industry. The titans, Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey. What would you have done in her situation? that's the thing that I really was so fascinated by when it came to Steve Harvey's approach to this whole thing, because I've seen this in the music industry. I've seen artists get blackballed and can no longer work. Many of my friends, who I called friends in the music industry, were blackballed and can't work anymore. They're doing other stuff, right? So what would you do if you were put in that situation? And me and my wife was talking about this morning. It's a fight or flight type situation. Once you are already blackballed, I'm just going to give my opinion in this situation. When I'm already blackballed and I'm hearing people say behind closed doors, the people who accused me of being difficult, a person who is accused me of being difficult, say I was right, that the way they handled it was wrong. But you don't want me to oust you in the public, but you ousted me in the public. Because that's what we have to forget. This is what we tend to forget. When she was considered blackballed, it was a public statement. It was made publicly. So when she decided to record the conversation between her and Tyler Perry, and then get on her venue, on her platform, and then say the things she said about Tyler Perry, Lee Daniels, and then Oprah Winfrey, people got mad at her because they're like, you shouldn't have did that publicly. But they embarrassed her publicly. Not only did they embarrass her, they took away her ability to survive. They took away her method of feeding her family. They took away her credentials. What do you do in a situation like that? Because Steve Harvey's like, well, you're messing up the money. The money was already messed up. They already messed her money up. See, to me, it comes off a fear thing. People do things to you, but they're scared when you do it to them. They don't want the truth being put out there. I've had plenty of opportunities to do the same thing. There is so much I can share with you about the industry and people in the industry and people even close to me that you would be amazed if I just said it, right? But they say take the higher road. What your enemy does, you shouldn't do to them. Turn the other cheek. But how many times do you turn the other cheek? You understand? How many times do you turn the other cheek? And she referenced it, I think, to slavery, if I'm not mistaken, because here's the thing that we have to understand, right? Especially from a tribal standpoint, as my people are Native Americans. The fight that you put forth, you going to war and battle, if they're already attacking you and they've already took away your way to survive, or they've already poisoned the water so that you can't drink, all you have now is to attack. But what people fail to realize, and how I'm perceiving this, and you guys tell me if I'm wrong, how I'm perceiving this is a wake-up call. Monique saying and doing the things that she said and did was a wake-up call for other artists who may work for Lee Daniels, for other people who may work for Tyler Perry, for Oprah Winfrey. This is what happens when you don't do what the elite want you to do. This is what happens when you don't follow orders based on the elite. You guys really need to understand this, because you want to get into the music industry, which is why I say it is so important to have your own business, be in control of your own career, be in control of your business as a whole. And if you're going to be subject to the music industry, or if you want to get signed to a label, that you at least know the devil that you're dealing with. But in this situation, you back a woman up into a corner and then expect her not to come out fighting. And then someone like Steve Harvey, who utilized his platform to basically try and say to her, you are doing this to our people. It's the way he was saying it. He made it a color thing. And you did it publicly. But he did not address what the people had done to this woman. Interested in hearing what you guys have to say. If you want to call into the podcast, the number is 843-564-2911. Let's take this call real quick, see who this is.
David E. Maxwell.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press...
Peace and blessings, Dave. What's going on, family?
Ain't nothing much, man. It's interesting topic we got going on here.
Yes. And I apologize, man, because when you sent me the text message, I'm thinking that you are going to be spending time with Mama today. So I figured that was going to be all morning.
Not a problem, man. I understand, yeah. But, Yeah, man. When you sent me your message, man, that really touched me. I was like, wow, that's something, like you said, no one should have to experience, man. So, but it reminds me of what we were talking about the other day, and it also ties into the subject, wow, which you're discussing now. And you said something earlier about fight or flight, and we were talking about, male basic instinct, is protection and survival for the family.
Right.
And make a long story short.
You ain't got to make a long story short, brother. No, you ain't got to make a long story short. Talk. We're here to talk and discuss it because I think it's such an important thing that we need to talk with our audience.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, okay. Let's see how do I want to hit this now. I just lost my train of thought, the direction I wanted to go.
Well, you were talking about me making the fight or flight statement.
Yeah, the fight or flight statement, and I tie it in with what you're talking about now, Monique, because like you said, someone that's threatening your livelihood, something that, you can say threaten your life, because you take away your food, you die. Yeah.
Right.
But I commend her for speaking out, and that's one thing that's really needed. People should keep the standards, integrity, whether it's on screen, in the public eye, and especially behind the scenes, because that's really important these days. And I think if we did that, then it'd be a lot of misunderstanding, misconceptions dismissed, and you know what you're getting. So, but she did that not only for herself, but she also was thinking for other people, like you said, that's coming up, that's going to connect with these moguls and trying to get their career started. But it's a lot to be said, and like you, I know a few people that have been blackballed, and back in the day, we call it being shelved.
Right.
So it's really it's a sensitive issue, and one that really needs. I think you really do a series on this. Break it down, subject matters, and really do a series on this because it's really needed, and it's not really talked about. It happens a lot, but it's not really talked about a lot. Right. It's like a hush-hush because nobody wants to put anybody on blast. Nobody wants to put people on Front Street. And I think if we do that, going with our eyes open, it'll make life a lot pleasant for a whole lot of people.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And that was the thing. As I was listening, I was on my way to the school this morning. Me and my wife was listening to the Breakfast Club, and so I was, getting a chance to hear Charlamagne the God and Angeline and DJ Envy's views. And I'll be honest with you, at times I honestly feel like these are still, because all of these guys are over their 30s, and I think some of them are even pushing 40, and they still have this childish type of analogy, the way they handle a lot of different things. Some things, I think they're dead spot on with, but a lot of times I think they are still subject to that integrity issue that Steve Harvey brought up, that Monique, she should be careful what she say. Because certain things was just so obvious when it came to dealing with this situation. Again, hands down, let's take the gloves off, let's be honest, let's be real. This is you now. Someone has came into your house. They have stripped you of the ability to take care of your family. They have taken your tools. They have basically did everything. Then they went on a public rant and said David E. Maxwell, them beats, is a sour person to work with. He will rip you off. He is hard to work with, and your reputation as a businessman is what you have to allow you to make more money. That's all of us. You know what I mean? That is all of us. If you work for a job or a corporation and you decide to retire, you did your job, but you decided I didn't want the overtime. So, hey, I get it, because overtime, is really a bonus, and it's something that is something I can choose to do. It's not a requirement under the job. So in return, you leave the job or the contract, and you think you're good. You use these people as a reference. However, what you don't know is there's a smear campaign going against you. You can't get another job because your reference that you thought you could use is saying, well, no, David E. Maxwell is a hard person to work with. He does not go above and beyond for the job. And you're like, yo, I did the job. Is there an issue with the job at hand? Or is it just the issue because I didn't work the extra hours you wanted me to work? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And, just for those who just may be tuning in right now, he's just using it as an example. I'm easy to work with. But,
right. I apologize.
But anyway, it also goes back, you were talking about her being paid what she was paid, because I saw that movie several times, man, and she really poured everything, her heart and soul, into that role. And I think that she should have really got her just, she should have got paid a little better, you know what I mean? And so I think it starts from then. I don't know what the contract agreements were, how much she was supposed to get paid, anything like that. But I think that there was unfair. If they made that much money, you said 43 million, something like that?
47 million.
47, wow. She should have got paid a lot more than what she did. And I think because of that, people thought that they could treat her any way. First of all, we know it's not really a racial thing, but then again it is. And then also being that she's a female, so I think all of that had a role in how that they were treating her. But why? What caused it? Why this had to happen in the way that it did? And then in front of everybody to see,
Right.
It's interesting.
Let me address some comments real quick in the chat real quick. Cobra Immortal, I appreciate you so much, brother. He says that he's been blackballed and he came out of it. He also talks about Steve Harvey supporting Trump. Anthony Adams says, work without compensation is slavery. The bottom line is that the money was there. She should have been paid without all of the runaround. And then he further goes on to say, simply put it, as a matter of respect, value, economics. It is quite disingenuous for those eaten to criticize the starving. In my opinion, it was less about Monique and more about setting a precedent. I completely agree with that, and I think he's dead on point with that as well. And let's go backwards again, because I want to address something, the elephant in the room, because there was a recent video by Dame Dash, another person that isn't given the respect that he's due, and I don't really follow a lot of people. I don't really commend a lot of people for their business savvy or respect them in ways that most people do. In other words, I'm just not a follower, okay? You can put out great music, but that doesn't mean you have a great business practice. But the other part is that not everyone makes sense. And Dame Dash is one of those guys that makes sense to me. Outside of the recent thing that I've seen him do, which, which was apologize for some of the things he said, so there must be something behind closed doors with that particular situation, knowing how the music industry is and him trying to make moves. But he ousted Lee as well in a video where he lent Lee money that he didn't get back, which was $2 million. And how,
I remember that.
Yeah, and so with the subtitles and the captions that was available, it was again, let's not do this here. See, embarrassment. Let's not do this here. Let me give you my number and we can talk about it. Well, why was it ever a time that this man should not have ever been able to contact you when you are indebted to him?
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? So when you are looking at this, see, this is a track record now we have to play, because this same man is the pivotal point behind this conversation with Monique. He's the same person that is behind the pain of Monique and starting that conversation and that information about her being difficult to work with. But when you start looking at that pattern and looking at what they're doing, look at how they handle things and how they want things handled, it is fine when I am the powerhouse big dog controlling your future. But how dare you interrupt my future by telling people how bad a person I am? That is the most amazing. This is the thing that I have questioned, Dave. whether we live in an alternate reality or not. Because the bad people are getting away with doing this type of stuff to people. You get what I'm saying, David?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's true.
Go ahead, brother. I apologize. Go ahead.
No, I say that's true. And you know, and as you were talking, I'm just thinking, only a few have spoken out, you know, of the situation. Imagine the countless others that really don't have a voice, that's not as prominent as the ones that we're talking about here. So it goes to show that something really needs to be looked into about this. And I'm glad that, you know, you bring this up, because it also really applies, like you said, to the music industry as well. You know, it's like who you know, it's like cliques. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't with this clique and if you ain't doing what they say do, then, you know, they have control over your future, over your life. And I don't think that's fair.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And that's the part that becomes scary, because now, well, you know what? How I look at this is, if this is not a learning lesson for Monique, okay, I know this isn't the end of her career by far. She's too talented of a person. But the skepticism that I would have working with any major production, and I'm not having some form of creative control or being more in control other than just getting a paycheck, is the key behind me. Because what I would, at this point, Monique has, and here's how my brain works, guys. Monique has now the ears of people. This is the best time now for me. As this momentum is flowing, she should be working on a project right now. And I'm not saying she's not, and that's not what she's doing. But this is the time you show independence as an actress, as a comedian, as a musician, whatever it is that you're doing. This is the time you take advantage of that momentum and that flow, and you utilize the same thing that these people tried to do to you for your best efforts. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense, and I want to share something with that musically. A lot of people, you know, not getting too far from the subject, but, you know, when people be stealing producer beats and stuff like that and stealing songs, a lot of times one of the things that you can do to combat that is, everywhere you see that person who stole your song and you produce that beat, what you do is, like you said, you build momentum on that. You tag them in every post. You know, you mention them here, you mention them. You make it so wherever they see them, you are present. So this is one way, man. I see that, you know, you got to think outside the box, and you're absolutely right. You know, like you said, we don't know. She might not, if she's a project or not, but this is the proper season for this to happen and to come out. And I think it's all going to work out for the good on her behalf.
Guys, you know, we're interested in hearing what you have to say. Kyle Knockwood Music Production says, let's all just run our own music business through GoDaddy and PayPal. Brother said, let's build websites and get paid. And that's an excellent idea.
That's all right.
Yeah, man. You know, and I'm hoping this dialogue, see, this dialogue, guys, these podcasts that we're trying to do is to, I mean, it's not all about how do I get money, how do I get money, how do I get money. It's also about educating you to, once you get there, what could possibly happen to you. What can actually happen to you, and the things that you will encounter. And this is such a matter of fact, me and you just talked about something like this. I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, I shared with you my personal experience that I don't share with everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. And this lines up right with it. When you don't do the will of others, and they have control of your life because you've trusted them with certain elements of your life, they will play that card against you when you are not doing what they want you to do.
Yeah.
And again, I am just so flabbergasted at the mindset of anyone who says she should have had a personal conversation with these people and it should have been left off the record. She showed you she had a personal conversation with these people and they kept it off the record. She showed you that they agreed with her and that she did nothing wrong. And if she didn't show you, it would still just be the rumor of Monique is a terrible person. If she didn't put it out there, okay, and I know people are like, oh, that's cool, that's dry snitching. Call it what you want. But when you take away my ability to feed my babies, gloves are off. You get what I'm saying?
That's right.
Gloves are off.
You know, I'm a man of faith, and you said something about turning the other cheek, but this is not that situation.
And that's
a totally different situation.
It's completely a totally different situation. Because listen,
Yeah.
the worst thing you can do to a person, okay, is talk about their mama, spit in their face, and take their money. All that to me falls into the same category. You know what I mean? I don't care.
I think she turned her cheek when she had the inside conversation. And then, several things transpired, so she had no more cheeks to turn, so she had to go in the way that she did.
Right.
That's just my opinion.
Guys, we want to hear from you, man. You know what I mean? We want to hear what you think. Leave your comments in the chat section inside of YouTube. We'll definitely read it and then give our insight to it, if any. You may say something I didn't even think about. But we definitely want to hear from you guys. Tell us what you think about the situation with Monique. And again, this is not a topic. I didn't even care about the views. I didn't even care if no one chimed in. I cared more so about just getting it off my chest, especially after what I went through this morning. I was already like riled up listening to, the radio interview on the Breakfast Club, and I listened to all this stuff and then heard everyone else's responses. And so I was already riled up. And so then the incidents with my son popped up, and then, that just took it to a whole nother level, because then I had all this emotion involved. And that's the thing now that I'm being governed by. Even though we're not supposed to have energy in motion, because when you basically allow your emotions to set in, sometimes you make unrational decisions. You don't think through certain decisions that you would normally do. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. But again, when it comes to the welfare of your children, your livelihood, your ability to be able to take care of yourself, because me and you talked about this as well, David.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we did.
Every animal have the instinct to survive. It's inherent.
Absolutely.
It's inherent.
Yep.
And
self-preservation.
It's self-preservation. And
Mm-hmm.
we oftentimes look at survival in a way where if there's a catastrophe, if there's an emergency, if there is a flood or fire or a gun, somebody shooting, that's the way we look at an emergency, right? So, fight or flight, self-preservation. But we're talking about the same thing when I can't keep the lights on. And I can deal without the lights. Mm-hmm. But if I can't hunt, if I can't feed my babies, if you keep me from doing that, then we have a whole nother situation. Especially if I can identify the source of me not being able to feed my babies.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I'm supposed to go and attack that situation. I'm supposed to stop whatever is hindering my ability to feed my children. So if it's a faulty trap, okay, if we're hunting, if I didn't dig the hole deep enough, or if I didn't sharpen the spikes well enough, that's on me. I got to go and fix that. And that's how I'm looking at this particular sister, because again, the relationship that I see, and see, me and this man talk about a lot of things off the record, guys. The relationship I see, because there was a comment about Sydney being her manager, and how he's taking this, he's taking or doing way more than he should because that's his wife. Not only is this his wife, this is how they eat. They eat. You understand? As me and my wife run our businesses together, right? This is how we eat. This ain't just about being personal. If someone attacks my wife, or they don't like what my wife did, or she made a mistake or messed something up. It's not about that. Listen, we're only going to go so far. If you make a mistake, you made that mistake, own up to it, wear that. But from the standpoint as a man, his job is to protect his wife. His job is to protect their interests. His job is to make sure that he's not only providing, and if his being able to provide, or his provisions is that where he's managing their business, and he is focused on the business side and the managing side while she do the comedy and the acting, then that is a team. That is a team that is developed for success. But for someone to say that he is putting her in a bad situation would say then he has no self-preservation, because he would be jeopardizing his life as well.
That's crazy. That's wild. The nerve of some people, man. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So if you're just tuning in, man, we're talking about the Monique situation with Steve Harvey and how it is so applicable to the music industry, guys. Y'all have no clue what I have seen, what I have heard, what I have witnessed, what I have been a part of. in the music industry, and this is so reminiscent to me of the things I've experienced and I saw and bore witness to, and it triggered a nerve in me because you guys really need to comprehend, because this is not just about the entertainment business. This is anything in life. This could be you at work right now. This could be you in the studio. This could be anything where someone is trying their best to shortcut you or short-tail you or cut off your ability to take care of your family or stop your money, right? And they're doing little things or they're saying little things, and then you sit back and you don't say anything about it. You don't address the elephant in the room. You just let it go on and on until you find yourself in a situation where you're the bad person, you're the corporate, and then you lose your job or you lose your ability to monetize your efforts, or your music, or you're blackballed. Or, you know what I mean? All this stuff, guys, is symbiotic. It all plays a part together. And if we don't address it, you know what I mean, you guys won't know what to look for. So I apologize. This isn't our normal type podcast or our conversation, but it's something that needs to be talked about. So I'm here with my co-host, David E. Maxwell from Dem Beats Production. David, what's going on, brother?
Life, man, you got it. It's interesting. We've shared many conversations, and, I've shared conversations with others, and, in the music aspect, production, and business-wise, but then, even in doing that, life happens, and a lot of times we don't see that side of of a person. We just see the business aspect of it. And what you're doing right now, man, is my hat's off to what you're doing right now. I mean, it really means a lot to me personally because as I shared with you and you with me, we've experienced some things in life, and we continue to experience these things. But this is another platform that we have that we can share and express ourselves and get answers to help us and also be a blessing to others. So this is very positive right now.
And I appreciate it, brother. And so with that, I always want to, and you know what, positivity, let me go back real quick. Positivity is one of the things that we base our lives on, because we are here to provide answers when others can't find it. We are here. And I hate this mindset now that we live in, or this day and age we live in, where I am no longer my brother's keeper. I am my own keeper. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That kills me, because as I said in St. Augustine recently to a couple people, or not even a couple people, thousands of people that I met and was educating last weekend to the history of America. I kept saying to people, it doesn't matter about our color, it doesn't matter about our religious belief, our political belief, or any of those things that we now utilize to create separation and division. What matters is if there is an emergency right now and we found all our lives in jeopardy, we wouldn't question whether we would protect the women, children, or each other in a situation like this. We would not hesitate, all of us as a group of people, to do what was needed for our survival. And we would understand one simple thing, brother. It's going to take all of us to get it done. Not one of us. All of us.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. It's going to take all of us.
Hands down.
Yes, sir.
So let's go to the questions real quick, or statements. Anthony Adams says, if a newspaper or media company slights you publicly, then they are required to fix it publicly. Hands down.
Yes.
Hands down. If a newspaper put in the wrong thing, then yes, they have to fix it publicly. Let's see.
That's actually, when you look at it, it's defamation of character. You can come up on charges for that.
Yes, you can. 100%. Mm-hmm. Someone was calling. I don't know how to get them in. They had a call coming in. Let's see. I don't know what I'm doing here. This is a new phone number anyway. But yes, you can.
The number show up?
It showed up. We missed a call from 512 area code. So, you know what I mean, you can always try and call back if I missed your call, if you want to chime in to this particular subject and topic. Again, the number is 843-564-2911 if you want to call in and give us your views. But yes, 100%, if a newspaper said anything that was not correct, they are held liable for it and could possibly even be sued. But I think with what happened with Nique, how they did it, was it became not a direct statement, even though they did openly admit it could have been dealt with a different way. Okay, so that was, even though we don't have the actual audio where someone was saying, and it might be, I may be wrong, David, it may be someone actually said it publicly, and that's what they used. But I didn't hear it, so I can't really speak on it. But yes, you're right. You're definitely right, Anthony. That if it happens, it happens. Kyle Knockwood Music says, assuming that was all in Hollywood. Kyle, it was we're gonna say and assume it was all a Hollywood thing, but movies are not just made in Hollywood. Let's stop that. And I'm not saying that's the way you think at all. But it's not just a Hollywood thing. It is a entertainment thing. It's a personal thing. It is a united front type thing. So it's not necessarily about Hollywood, because I've seen this happen in every state, every city. You know, it can happen anywhere to anyone. Bayou Music says, oh, okay, hey, what's your country S code, man, please? I think our code, what is our code for America's plus 1 or plus 01?
It's 1. Yeah.
Plus 01, I think. And Anthony Adams is just dropping jewels here. I don't know if you can see it in the chat. He says, if a mechanic shop fixes your vehicle for free too often, then they will not be able to retool and or stay in business. If someone is unwilling to pay for your services, then they are not your customer. 100%.
Yeah.
Great words of wisdom there, brother. Great words of wisdom there, man. I really appreciate that 100%. Because it is so true. It is so true. Dave, now I know David.
Chat as well.
Oh, okay, brother. Now, David, we was talking. You had some ideas, man. And I want to go ahead and introduce those ideas now while we are waiting on anyone else that might want to chime in. We had some ideas about music. You were saying we should start. Matter of fact, it's best that you say it because it was your ideas. But let's go with the ideas that you come up with, because I agreed with you, and I wanted you just to express it to everyone else and these producers and artists what we plan on doing.
Okay, yeah. Here it is that we have those who would like to participate to submit a track to the podcast, or email that we provide, and then what we would do is we will pick like 3 tracks, maybe 2, 3. We'll decide that later, and have the listeners vote, on which one that they liked. And how they can vote is go to the Facebook page, like the Music Millionaires Facebook page, and you have the poll with those producers, so that way they can vote. And then the one that is picked, give them a shout out, their website, their promo and stuff like that. So that's just one way. There's other ideas that it's still in the making right now, but I think that'll be something that be very useful and helpful. That'd be something good.
I think I agree with you guys. What do you think? So what David E. Maxwell is suggesting is that we accept, we take submissions for you guys' music. We'll accept 3 tracks out of the submitted music, then have you guys vote on it. The vote. You know what? I wonder, what can we do? What can we give away? Let's give away something. You know what I mean? But
I'm talking about that too. Yeah.
I wonder what we can give away.
Come up. Yeah.
But either way it go, you know what I mean? Voting on you guys' music and promote you some way, fashion, or form. Let's see.
Yeah.
And help promote your music. You know what I mean? I guess that's the least we can do, but I think that'd be great. And then you guys be the ones to. I'm typing at the same time. You guys be the one to determine what tracks move to the next level. We got so many different projects going on, David. You know what I mean? There could be, like we can do features on the documentaries or the TV series we're working on. There's a lot that we can do. Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I think that'd be great. That'd be great. I know. A lot of people like to do that. They have their music heard and get voted on. It's not so much a critique. It's just a vote for your favorite producer. Your favorite sound.
Okay.
Because a lot of others there, what they're doing is they're critiquing.
Right.
Which is good too. But I want to do something a little different.
Gotcha. So we don't want to critique it. We want to have the music voted on.
Right.
I like it. Guys, what do you think? Tell me what you think, okay? Now, for those of you who cannot call into the number, you can always hit us on Google Hangouts if you have a Gmail account by sending a voice message or request to us to musicmillionaires@gmail.com, musicmillionaires@gmail.com, and do a Google's Hangout, and then we can chime you into this conversation. I don't think it will affect the calls on this side. I don't think so. You know what I mean? We're figuring all this out, guys, because we really want to make this more of an interactive experience for you guys. I know a lot of you guys don't mind doing the texting and calling into the live chats and things like that, but a lot of times, like, you know, this is one of those slow live streams. But no, most of the time, we can get messages back to back, and I can't see it unless you guys do a super chat. And then, you know, then YouTube will pin that particular chat up on the screen. But my point is, oh, and by the way, guys, happy Valentine's Day to all you guys who celebrate Valentine's. And then one day we're going to go in about these holidays as well. I got some stuff on my chest about these holidays we're going to share, so y'all just know what you are celebrating when you celebrate it, because I want you guys to really know. But happy Valentine's to all you guys that are spending time with your loved one. And let's not make a day the time that you tell your husband or wife or girlfriend that you love them and you care about them. Every day should be that day we take the opportunity to say, I love you to your mate, your spouse, you know what I mean? Because no day is promised. You can go to sleep in the bed with the assumption you're going to wake up or the other person's going to wake up or that you're going to be able to speak to them tomorrow or whatever, and it doesn't necessarily happen. So let's not wait for a holiday to come around to tell the person that your significant other that you love them.
Yeah, I was just reading it. I hear you, my brother. I was just reading the chats, and we had one earlier. You said you wanted to definitely get to. I think the brother named Stephen Small had a question. Matter of fact, it's like one of the very first questions.
Okay.
When you started. And he says, quick question, not to get off topic, but can I get paid off the stream if I upload music to YouTube for promotional purposes? I think we've addressed this before.
Right, I'm reading now. So let's say this one more time. Quick question, not to go off topic, but can I get paid off the streams if I upload music to YouTube for promotional purposes? Now the question would be what music, because see, he didn't identify the type of music. And when you say promotional music, oftentimes it makes me feel like you're taking someone else's music and then uploading that to YouTube. Yes, you can. However, there may be consequences to it later on if the music is not owned by you or you don't have the copyright ownership. In other words, you don't have rights to the copyright to upload that music. And it could come back to bite you in the tail. Fortunately, though, with YouTube, if that does happen, if you do upload content that is not yours, you will get a copyright strike. If it is a video claim, then there would be an actual copyright strike. If it's a musical upload, then what YouTube will do is monetize that particular video for the person who was making the claim. They call the claimant. So you have to be very clear to what do you mean about uploading music on YouTube for promotional purposes, because again, it's very vague when you say music, because you didn't say my music, you didn't say someone else's music, you didn't make clear to whom music you actually are talking about. But I think I answered it either way, just letting you know that if you are uploading someone else's music, you might be able to get away with it for a period of time until that person is aware, and then you have to deal with it. And then if you make a counterclaim for whatever reason to try and combat that claim from the person who's making that claimant, then you will be looking at court. You're not going to be able to get around it. You're going to go to court about it. So just be careful that you, if you're uploading other people's music, that you have permission to do so. If it's your music, then go for it 100%. You can monetize it. But it depends on how you are uploading, because if you are utilizing a distribution platform, yes, you are 100% go. If you're using the YouTube video platform, which is that video that I did, the video prior to the one that just released, then you want to make sure that you have that 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch time minutes to be able to monetize that video, and make sure that you get your AdSense account up and running, and be able to actually make money from the situation. Okay? Well, thank you for catching that. You did catch that. I appreciate you, David.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. You know, I'm reminded as you were talking, I had an incident a couple of years back, I believe, with a company called N Grooves, where it was 3 of my songs that were, they had put a copyright claim on. And it's a funny thing because one of the songs, I actually did a video of me making the song in my DAW and me actually hands-on playing. And that one was tagged, and 2 others. And I found it rather odd. And what I had to do is to show them the burden. I had the burden of proof that I was the original creator of that song. Now, I do understand that a lot of people use loops. This wasn't a loop. It wasn't something that I threw into my DAW. I'm actually a musician. You know, I do use loops at times, but these particular songs, I actually played the parts and had it shown me playing the parts. And they gave me a copyright claim. But what I did was I countered it and gave them the burden of proof. One of the songs actually was released through CD Baby years ago. And, you know, and I say this, that YouTube algorithms and things like that, they're constantly changing. This is before you had to have 1,000 subscribers in order to monetize.
Right.
You know, so, but like you said, if you're playing your music and you made that music, then you have rights to make money on that music. I mean, that's what the platform is there for.
Right.
But that's that case and only that case. But, you know, you just got to do a lot of research and, you know, just put it out there, man. Just do it.
Well, because that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, was it a situation where you possibly could have had a sample or a loop inside of your beat, and, you know, that's what they was claiming? Or was this a situation, did you find out because you said you originally released it with CD Baby years prior?
Yeah, one of the songs.
One of the songs?
Mm-hmm.
And so was it a situation where possibly CD Baby, because, you know, CD Baby has affiliates and they distribute their music certain type of ways. Was it a situation where they was making that claim on behalf of CD Baby? Did you ever get clarity from that?
No, actually, the way I did it, I didn't get clarity through that from CD Baby. What I did was, as a matter of fact, I did give them the what's the number? The ISN number.
The ISCR.
ISRC.
Yeah,
that number. Backwards. That number and the date and everything, and that was for that particular song. And the other ones I gave them, I forget who it was that I gave them. But the very next day they emailed me back and they said, no problem, no strikes against you, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, yeah. And here's the thing, too. I found out that they also were putting copyright claims on royalty-free music. Now, I didn't understand that.
Hey guys, so David E. Maxwell, my co-host here in the podcast, was talking about him uploading music because we was having someone ask about monetizing their music for promotional use, but it came to light to him to share that at one point he experienced that as well. Have you guys ever experienced someone making a claim against your music from you said a royalty-free situation?
Yes, it was another. They were putting claims on royalty-free music.
Wow. Have you ever experienced that, guys? Yeah, if you have, let us know in the chat so we can share that with everyone else here in the podcast. If you've ever experienced that. That is crazy, man, because royalty free. Yeah. But you know, now let me say this. I've experienced this. Like when I got back into YouTube, what happened was I was using a royalty free track from one of those websites. What was it called? I just looked at it. Daff and Piffs or something like that. Long story short, it was royalty free. All you had to do was put that you received it from XYZ website and give credits to that particular production company or group. And so did that. A day later, I got a copyright notice. And it was like, you know, it was being claimed by XYZ. What I did notice was that this was somebody completely different than the original group. And what I come to find out was the person that or the place that I downloaded the beat from the producer that the music was from. And I know, hold on, let me back up. I know you guys are like, why would a producer be using somebody else's music? Because of diversity. I don't always feel like going through my catalog to listen to somebody else's music. Right. And if it fits the situation, damn it, I'm going to use it. But anyway, it come to find out that the producer that I used the music from actually sampled another producer's track who was monetizing, who had it distributed. And so YouTube picked up that copyright strike, which is why the guy allowed the music to be royalty free from the start. That is some slick-ish. Y'all gonna be, don't do that. That is nasty. That's bad for your music career when you do that. That is very bad. But that's what happened.
But you know, it's sometimes, like you said, you won't know that until you get these claims. You know, it's sad that, you know, you can't catch it in the beginning because you just don't know. Because, you know, music there's so much stuff out there online right now, and people using other people's stuff and then giving it away for free. You think it's free until you get a hit on it.
Right.
But, you know, it goes all the way back to what you said earlier, you know, being a person of integrity, you know, inside and outside, you know. We're all affected by it. You know, we're all intertwined and affected by this.
That's a fact. Kyle Knockwood Music Production said, I did it twice from Splice samples, but it went away when I disputed it. It was from a strange label that was hosting a lot of small SoundCloud rappers. Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Now,
well, here's the thing. Speaking about Splice, there are some libraries, you know, now that's asking producers not to use music from Splice. And I think what's happening is that it's starting to get really saturated now. Because a lot of producers, when they do use samples from Splice, they don't change it up. They just use the loop just as it is. I mean, they don't change the key, they don't change the tempo, they don't reverse it, they don't use half of it, you know, they don't chop it up. So a lot of these music libraries are getting a little frustrated. They tell the producers, do not send them music with Splice loops in it. So,
and I can understand that.
Splice wouldn't know about that.
I can understand that because, again, if you have a new producer or a producer who's new in the industry and then they use a loop and the loop is satisfactory, it's a dope loop firstly, you know, and I don't really have to do anything to it. All I have to do is add a drum pattern to it and some hi-hats and do my thing. Then and it makes my track sounds good. It would just make sense that young producers especially won't change it, or they don't understand chopping and getting everything, you know, making it's their own, making it original versus just keeping the original format they got it. And so what that's going to cause is copyright claims when producers are, you know, looking, hey, well, this is a royalty-free sample or a royalty-free loop, and I just made a new track in it. And so the algorithm identifies the entire track, and they're identifying a 4 to 8 bar loop within that track. And they're saying, hey, this matches up with another song. You know what I mean? They're not looking at the algorithm isn't looking at the beat pattern. It's looking at this melody that I'm hearing. It's looking at this is familiar, and it's so much familiar, it sounds the same within 4 to 8 bars. And so it's realistic. I can see that happening. It's, like I said, especially with a lot of young producers, you know, who haven't really, you know, gotten to their groove and really understand copyright infringements and how the copyright laws work and what happens if you upload a song with a sample that 100 other producers have used as well because it was free from Splice. So that makes sense.
Yep. Absolutely.
Anthony Adams says, laugh out loud. Well, at least that the automation used to find music works. So hopefully, if it's you, then it will work for you at some point in time. Very true. You know, it's a great way, Anthony, to take something negative and make it positive. At least we know the YouTube algorithm works. Yes, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. Yeah, I like that as well. And so, guys, just to let you know, we are currently working on, and a lot of you producers. So I'm going to tell you that we have several producers. I'm talking too fast. So this weekend I'll be visiting a artist and a person. Are you familiar with Lil Scrappy?
Not too familiar.
Okay, so Lil,
I heard the name, you know, but I'm not too familiar with his work.
Okay, well, you know, we're working on the documentaries, docuseries, right, and we're working on the TV reality shows and stuff like that. And so a lot of you guys, the producers, you know what I mean, that are a part of us, are submitting your videos for the docuseries, which I commend you. Spaceman Crux is one of them. He's definitely going in. He's hired a videographer and is getting his thing done. So I'm so excited and anxious to have him added on to this docuseries. But I'll be down in South Carolina again with a guy named Casino. And Casino is a brother who is best friends with Lil Scrappy. And for those who don't know who Lil Scrappy is, he's been featured and is on the Love and Hip Hop series that is being, you know, it's one of the largest docuseries or TV series there is, reality shows. And last year, if I'm not mistaken, it was last year, Lil Scrappy fell asleep at the wheel. And when he did that, they crashed into, I think it was a pole or a tree. I think it was a pole. And either way, his passenger, which his name is Casino, which is a rapper, took the grunt of that accident, and he has a story to tell. Because prior to that, and I don't want to give up too much of his story, I'll just say because he's probably watching this, and he's a good brother, man. Prior to that, he had experienced being shot. So, you know, can you imagine that, being shot first, you know what I mean, you know, maybe months or half a year prior to, and then getting in a car accident that, you know, ruptures your intestines, and he was really messed up, and he's still suffering from the accident. But you talking about a brother who got a story to tell, man. I mean, like, from the music side of this, it is powerful, man. It is so powerful, and I can't wait to share his story. So I'll be there this weekend, video recording him and getting him ready for the documentary to share the story, guys. And just wanted to say to you again, you know, that the offer is still out there. We don't want to create a TV network featuring musicians or producers and say this is the only story we want to tell. We want to tell all you guys' story, what you go to every day as a producer, engineer, rapper, artist, singer, whatever, and then your day-to-day struggles to survive. Because if you're going to tell me it's not hand in hand, then I need to come live with you. If everything is just all gravy as you build out your music business and career, and maybe I need to learn something because maybe me and my brother did it the wrong way, and if I'm teaching people the wrong way, I need to know. But even if you did, I would love to share your story. Even if your life is a beautiful story, and if it's all positive, I want to share your story. And we
inspire us, baby.
Inspire us. That's what I'm talking about. You heard it from my brother, man. You know, we are not stuck on stupid or our ego that we cannot be taught. Even being over 40, we are ready, willing, and able to learn something, man. I mean that.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, if you are interested in us telling your story and want to be a part of this docuseries, and I'm not telling you guys the title just yet. You know what I mean? And we still have the promo trailers that we're working on and all the things. Let me know. Hit me up at musicmillionaires@gmail.com. I'll be interested in sharing your story and sharing it with the world so that the world can know you as a producer, artist, singer, whatever it is you do, guys. We want to do that. And with that said, Sun7 says, same thing happened to me, shaking my head. Another producer didn't clear the sample. Then he asked me to remix the track so my team could use it. I got 2 features on the track with us. The song slaps, but I can't put it on DistroKid because of the sample that the other producer used. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, that's yeah. And you know what, David? It goes to show just how inhibiting. Did I say it right? Inhibiting the digital age is, and just how tedious it is as well, because with the creation of the digital world, everything is available to everybody. Whereas before, you might have got a sample loop from a producer, and you know he cleared it, and you chopped it up and did your thing. Now everyone, because I told everyone there's like over 500,000, if not 1 million, music producers in the United States alone. Now you have to worry about everyone using the same sample, and oh God, it's a nightmare right now, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. It's a nightmare just to be. You want to expand your music library and you want to do more with your music, but then, you know, those free sources that everyone is using, you have to be very careful of it now, and you gotta really be like, it goes back to what you said a couple minutes ago about, you know, being a musician and creating your own. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I tell people that all the time.
Well, here's the thing. Even if you're not good at being a musician, you know, learn the technical side. Learn some tricks and tips that's dull, that you can chop it up, that you can use that and make it your own. I mean, you talk about the technology and stuff that we have today. You know, we got to use it, you know, turn it around and use it for our purpose.
Yeah,
repurpose it.
Repurpose it. That's a great way to say it, brother. That's a great way to say it. So, guys, before we come to the end of this particular podcast and video, here's the thing. We want to open it up. What questions do you have for us? Is there anything that we can help you with that we can share in our podcast and or on YouTube that you feel like other producers may want to know? If it's something I can answer, I'll answer it. If I don't know the answer, I'll look it up and try my best to find it because I definitely don't know everything. I just know what I know. But if you have a question that you wanted to ask, this is the time where you can ask them because I'm opening it up for you guys before I close out. So please feel free to put it in the chat box inside of the YouTube channel if you are actually on YouTube. And if you're listening to this podcast later on and you want to have questions or you want to ask questions, guys, make sure that you come to my YouTube channel at Music Millionaires and then, you know, be a part of us. Sign up, subscribe, and be a part of us so that you can know when we go live and we are doing these live podcasts on YouTube. Also, guys, I want to remind you guys that me and David E. Maxwell are both on Stationhead. And what does that mean for you? That if you have an iPhone, if you're rocking an iPhone, there is an app called Stationhead. Need you to go down and download it. Go ahead and download Stationhead. And why? Because basically what Stationhead allows us to do is be able to broadcast. And we are trying our best to work all of this together so that we can do all of this at one time, do a Stationhead broadcast while doing YouTube, while doing a podcast, and getting all that done out the way. But Stationhead allows us to be able to take your music that is distributed through your favorite platforms, preferably iTunes or what's the other one now? Spotify. Oh, God.
Spotify.
Yeah, I'm getting old, D. I'm getting old.
I'm getting there. I'm close.
Don't claim it, bud. So you older than me, so you can't claim it. You can't claim that. You got to say I'm going backwards.
That's right. That's right. Amen to that, brother.
I know that's right. But it allows us to be able to stream you guys music, and then you get the music royalties that is owed to you from it streaming on those platforms. Yes, there's an actual app that we can play your music on our radio stations and then actually help you get those streaming rates. So make sure you go up to Stationhead, download it on your iPhone. It is only available for iPhone right now. They are making web and Android available soon, but for my iPhone users, go there and then go and look up GOAT Music and Dem Beat Productions. Okay, guys, we'll be on there. We'll be happy to stream your music for you and help you receive your royalty streaming rates. All right. So with all that,
also, as the questions are coming in, I just wanted to reiterate for those who are just probably tuning in, or just as a reminder that we're getting ready to start something new with the producers sending in their beats and then having other producers vote for their favorite track. And the way we're going to do that is possibly go to the Music Billionaires Facebook page and answer the poll. And once you do that, then the one that is picked will be featured. You know, their music, their website, you know, just putting their name out there. So that's one of the things that SG and I are looking to do for the producers community. Just want to reiterate that.
That's a fact. We are definitely doing that. So, guys, make sure that you know that we want to help you guys. That's what this is all about. Each one, teach one, assist to the best of our ability. And, you know, these videos have longevity. That's one of the things I don't think people really understand, that when you title your subjects accordingly to your video, and people happenstance or search for that particular title that we may be talking about in a particular video or whatever may be going on, your music will be listened to and has longevity. I don't see, unless YouTube do a purge, I don't see these videos ever going anywhere, because the need for more space, and I forgot what it's called. That's a whole nother subject, but the need for more space is becoming readily available through iCloud and the Internet of Things. So your music will be, you know, memorialized in these videos, and it allows you to be able to pick up motivation. And who knows, you know, maybe 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, 5 years. I don't know how long it'll take you to get the success that you want. You can look back and say, yeah, well, I remember, you know, my first music stream or my first music promotion was through SG1, you know, from the Peacemakers, and David E. Maxwell from Dem Beat Productions, and they played my music on YouTube, and someone listened to it and then contacted me. You don't know. That's what I'm saying to you guys. You really don't know. So, you know, we'll be delving into that a little bit more. Also, guys, make sure, David, I need to take time out now to plug you. Give your website out, please.
Website is davidemaxwellbeats.com or dembeatsproduction.com.
And if you don't mind, David, when you get time, can you put it in the chat so everyone can actually see the physical link and go to it? You guys go over there and check out David E. Maxwell's website, please. Check out some of his music and offers, you know, collaborations, man. You know what I mean? Maybe you got some things going on and you need a producer to collab on it, or see the project a little differently, or add something that's extra to your music. That's one of the things that producers do not do today. Modern day producers think you can do it all themselves, while I myself am a witness and I testify to what I've seen Dr. Dre do, which is he'll bring in 10 producers, 5 different songwriters, and we build one of the greatest songs ever, because of everyone's involvement. So guys, start making sure that you collaborate with each other. And also, I keep telling you, find you guys some singers. Find you some singers that will go and build depth to your song, actually create a full song. So make sure you do that. Let's see. Let me go to the chat section real quick and just talk about some of these comments. I don't even think they're questions. Anthony Adams says, you all been great. Keep up the great work. I generally sample my own to get a particular sound. Amp Adams out. Anthony, we appreciate you, Amp Adams, and we appreciate everything that you contributed to this particular podcast and this particular video. Kyle Knockwood Music Production says, yeah, I've been making my own melodies and it feels good. That's what I'm talking about, Kyle. Appreciate you as well, my brother. WJ Walker 44, this generation lacks integrity and creativity, even though this is the best time to be creative and original. It is sad, but we can turn it around. WJ Walker, I completely agree with you, and I thank you for your comment, and thank you for watching us as well. And I think that this particular generation has integrity, but they are forced into a situation in a corner where it is more advantageous to be about themselves or about myself and be the greatest of all time, which is the GOAT. And that is, you know, let me say this while I got it on my mind, David, and forgive me. Do most of you guys know that it has been long talked about? Did I say that right? Am I speaking proper English, David? long talked about.
Well, we understand.
Okay. That it has been for a very long time known that the symbol of Lucifer was the goat of Bassmith. So just to see that, and it's funny because I have to use it myself. I say goat music just because greatest of all time, you guys, right? You know, you guys have to have that just to get it. But I'm letting you guys know that the goat mentality is the devil, bro. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pan. Just remember Pan's music. Let's see. Anthony Adams says, from programming networks, I say this, they never erase. They make smaller file standards. All right. I appreciate you guys so much for your comments, and thank you for your participation in this particular chat section. Anthony Anderson, you know what? Anthony Adams, you know, I'm going to make you a moderator right now, Anthony, because you've been in it. You've been in it, you know what I mean? You said some valuable stuff. That's not too great of a reward, but dadgummit, I'm going to give it to you just because you've been very interactive with this particular live stream, and I appreciate you and all that you're doing. Oh, it wouldn't let you put the website in there?
Yeah, no, I won't let me put it in there.
Huh, interesting. Why wouldn't it? Normally it will just flag you and I will see the flag.
I did that 3 times.
Isn't that something? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna type it again.
Bam. What about now? What about now? Y'all see that?
There you go.
That's what I'm talking about. But you as the, hold on, because I made you an admin. There you go. So now, I had to make you an admin.
Okay.
R. Griffin Music says, greetings. When will you have a moment when you'll listen to or consider working with other producers like you did with the Buying Beats experience you did? Great question, R. Griffin Music. I appreciate that question. Right now, what we're doing is we're working now. Don't think that the opportunity has ceased, because all Music Millionaires, your music is still being listened to. I've made the music catalog available to all of my clients. It is just matching your music up with their particular project. So there are a lot of you guys are still getting placements because we don't. Let me explain something to you guys. I think 4,000 tracks. 4,000 tracks are sitting on my Google hard drive. I had to pay to extend my hard drive to an extra terabyte. That's how much music we are getting. And so here's the thing that I do want to say to a lot of you guys. You have to start putting metadata in your music and categorizing it. In other words, you're just sending music, and maybe this is my fault. I should have been more specific, and I'll take that. You have to, if you put music in a folder, put music, put a title under that folder. Say, hey, slow music, R&B, sensual, or action movie style type music, or dramatic music, or hip hop, or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? But this allows us, and instead of having to search song by song looking for what we want, and I'll tell you, a lot of my clients, they will not go and search through music that way. They are searching the music that people have said, this is what my music is. Now, I said all that to you, right? It makes it a lot easier. So, again, I apologize for that. However, we are going to be literally taking in more music and listening to you guys' music and giving you guys some kind of consideration. Now, based on our docuseries, because this is being funded by us, I'm not going to have upfront monies to offer you guys for your tracks. I will give you opportunity. You get song credits, and then you can claim it on your royalties on the back end through your PRO. But when it comes to our docuseries and the TV series, I will be coming to you guys for music, because I don't want to be, my title or the credits be, oh, music produced by SG1 from the Peacemakers, David E. Maxwell from Dem Beat Productions, and all of it's just us for every damn thing. I don't want to do that. So, we will be given opportunities once we are there at the music supervising portion of our project. So look out for that. And I'm only going to do it with my subscribers, and Music Millionaires is going to get priority. Of course, my Music Millionaires will always get priority to submit their music first for the projects, and then my subscribers will come second. So if you are not a subscriber, I will not be taking your music unless I know you subscribe to the channel, because the least you can do is subscribe. It doesn't require much, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to get my 100,000 plaque. I need 100,000 subscribers, Dave, just to feel accomplished. I'm gonna get there.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. Because I need the 100,000. So y'all better tell people to come, because
we're gonna get there and some.
And some. That's what I'm talking about. And you know what me and my wife talked about last night, right? Realistic. Mm-hmm. I have accepted that unless I change the format of how I do YouTube videos and how I open up the content that we create, we're probably going to get stuck with maybe 150,000 to 200,000 subscribers, because that is what I've basically seen most music business YouTube channels top out at. I haven't really seen anyone go past 200,000 that did not make their channel more diverse or change the way or dynamics that they actually create videos to grab the attention of people outside of being music producers or artists. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What do you guys think? What do you think we should do to create a larger audience or get people's attention? What do you think I should do to change the video format and content? And do you think David E. Maxwell should be doing videos? Because I'm trying to get him to do YouTube videos, guys. I was trying to convince Dave. Like, listen, man, do YouTube videos. But we want to hear from you guys.
Yeah, I got to get in.
You got to, brother.
I definitely get in there because, I'm a little behind on that, and the thing that we talk about is being consistent with it. So I also look at and admire how my man from Philly, give a Philly shout out, Will Smith, how he jumped in and just took off. Yes, he's a celebrity and well known, but the way he does his videos and stuff, man, it's really him, Jackie Jeff, Kevin Hart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all my Philly brothers. I really like the way that they put their videos. It's a variety of things to do. Of course, they're multifaceted. They do a lot of things. But just an idea. Listening to you, SG, And you're actually multifaceted too, because I also enjoyed the video of you. Well, it actually wasn't on YouTube, I don't think, but of you when you did your exercise walk and you were just doing a live stream chat. So, just stuff like that, just doing something outside. I think outside the four walls of, a studio or a room.
Right.
It's just an idea, and it's something that I've been playing around with. But like I said, I got to get to the point where I have to be a little more consistent. Right now, it's a good thing that I'm busy with the music side, music production, but also I got to set aside some time, like you said, to start doing YouTube, because that is another way that I can, contribute to the community, and also it'll be a blessing for me as well.
And that's a fact, brother. And I'm glad you're considering that, because that's what, it's one of the things that I try to share with music producers. Anyone that's watching me right now or watch this video later on, if you can watch this long, if you've watched it this long, and we've been entertaining enough for you guys to watch it this long, I really want them to gather and grasp that these type platforms are empowering in such a way that you are in control of your life. A lot of us, like I said, we're introverts, so we are private and we try to keep our lives private, and we don't like that type sharing. But I'll say again that, I had to come out of my cubbyhole. I don't know if look at the first videos I've ever done. You saw me with the dark sunglasses on. I'm like,
I remember.
Yeah, man. I'm dropping knowledge, but I'm just like, I'm not comfortable on TV.
I remember you even had the bloopers in there a few times. You're like, I'm just gonna leave that in there.
Yeah, you know me. Yeah, So, but it's the way, guys. It is the way to your audience. It's the way to your fan base. You know what I mean? It's the way to a new family. Most of you guys are new family. It's how, me and David linked up. These are the things you'd be surprised at the family that you will grasp. And for artists, stop looking at your fan base as fans and look at them as your family. I think that if you realize that these are people, and people that follow you are family oriented, and they have a connection with you, that you tend to do a little better when it comes to that, which is why I talk to you guys the way I talk to you. I talk to you like a family. I don't no holds barred. Like, we have a new subscriber, that comes on, then that's one thing. Hey, let's make the introductions, XYZ. But the more I see you guys on here, the more I'm liable to connect with you. And that's one of the things that I was telling Dave. Like, I don't have friends. Like, David is pretty much it. You know what I mean? I have business associates, I have business partners, but we get on the phone and we talk and we chop it up, and I'm establishing more family-oriented friendships, with other people. But it's a part of my development as well. And this allows us to be able to do it, especially when you are going to be in entertainment, or you plan on doing certain things, man. You know what I mean? So, let's see. You plan on doing music. Let's see. Our graphic music says more info on it, and other stuff as well. Lamar Lee said, hey, bro, the symbology of the Baphomet is man mastering the world, plane of existence, hence GOAT. Its symbol is meant to scare away those who don't study to master themselves. Just FYI. That's what I'm talking about, Lamar Lee. Drop the knowledge. You seen that? He was like, let me educate this brother too. Very true, brother. You know what I mean? And again,
brother.
Yeah, definitely love that, man. Love that. All for that, bro. You know what I mean? Love you for that, man. But again, because of the symbolism that people have behind it and people thought process, want people to understand truly where people are using it and where it comes from, so that they'll be aware. But thank you for that information. Loves it, man. 100%. No Name Brand. Oh, SHI, you still live? Yes, we are still live streaming. Yes. And the proper way to say it, just in case we got children that's watching this, is sugar honey iced tea. And I'm trying to get better with my cursing because I got a religious brother here, and I'm trying to respect. But the white man should have never came up with these curse words, and I wouldn't be using it. That's just my excuse. Vaughn Street Music. Good morning, fam. Good morning. Peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings, man. So again, guys, if you're watching this later on and you're going to comment, give us ideas and ways that we can improve this video content that we're creating for you in a more educational, entertaining way that I can pass on messages for you guys. I'm working on a video now, David. It's going to be a funny but very true video, and I'm spoiler alerts for all those who are watching this. And if you don't watch it, be new to you, but you're going to want to watch the video when I do it. David, it is basically the new way to get signed 20 years from now. I'm doing a video.
Oh, wow.
I'm doing a video. I'm going to show you. I'm going to predict the future right now. And I don't do that, but I'm going to do it. And I'm going to say to you, I know how people are going to how people are going to be getting signed on labels deals. I'm going to predict.
Wow.
I'm going to predict it. And it's going to line in with what's going on today. And I'm going to share it with you guys because you're on here. I'm just going to say it. The way that people are going to get signed and how people are going to, in the next 5 or 10 years, me and you probably won't be watching this type of stuff because we just won't be into it. Or maybe we will. But the new way people will be getting signed to record labels and or marketing their music is they'll just be butt naked.
Oh, wow.
They'll walk into a record label and their catch will be tattoos and being butt naked. Listen.
That's real interesting.
Brother, let me explain to you why. As I go on Instagram, I want y'all to pay attention to this. Because I'm going deeper in than I wanted to in the podcast. I want to be ended by now because I have other stuff to do. As I go on Instagram and on my feed pops up, because I was subject to using these bots when I first created Instagram, so I got like 4,000 people that I don't even know. You know what I mean? Based on I forgot what bot it was, but everybody was using it at the time. Follow, unfollow at the time. And so I got a ton of people that I'm following. I don't even know, but so my feed stays busy. I digress. As I went on there, I'm looking at this sister swirling her head, and she got her finger in the air, and she's doing her thing. And okay, let me click and see what she's talking about. She's singing, right? As she goes on to continue to sing, she pulls back from the chair. Now she has her shirt up with her sports bra on, and she's grabbing under her breasts, and she's shaking them while she's singing. The sister got 10,000 views from that. 10,000 views from that.
Wow. Wow.
So I said, oh, God. I clicked out of curiosity again. Let me see. You know, in business, we're curious. It ain't a sexual thing. It's curious. I want to see how is this sister marketing herself. So I went to her page, and I saw she had 40,000 subscribers. Now, you know what I mean? Now, people don't think 40,000 followers is a lot, but when you have engaging people who are actually following you, it's not like YouTube where you can have 30,000 subscribers and maybe 1 or 2,000 follow, you know, they actually, you know, look at your video.
Comment.
Yeah, you know, and they comment and stuff like that. Where the
Interact.
yeah, you know, the rest of them are just subscribing just to be like, okay, in case he says something I want to hear later on. But Instagram followers more interactive. They're more interactive. So I'm looking at this sister, and as you know, of course, the last video she did was the one where she had the sports bra on and she's grabbing herself, but she's singing. And I'm listening to the sister. She had a great voice, cute sister, and all her stuff was sexual in nature. Her video was sexual. She had the see-through top. You could see, you know, areolas, all this stuff here. She's with another girl. She's doing all this stuff, but everything was sexual in nature. And all her videos, 100,000, 10,000, 30,000 views. And I was like, the future is you're going to have to get butt naked in order to make it. You're going to have to do something so outlandishly stupid and belittling to your physical body and your temple to make it that it's going to be unheard of. So I'm predicting now in another, I'm going to say 10 to 20 years, that your famous and most popular artists at some point in time, they will deregulate TV, and YouTube has already done it. You know what I mean? Because just look at Rihanna, to where eventually,
it's happening now. And deregulation, yeah.
Artists will be butt naked on just to get attention. I promise you that's where it's going to go, and that's where it's already gone. So somebody says future is now. Oh, Lamar Lee says future is now. More day Adina Howard. Yes, Adina Howard did do that. You're right. Wow.
Sex still sells.
Sex sells. So that's my prediction, guys. Bryce
They use it in commercials. They use it in promotions. So
yes.
yeah.
Be Nice Entertainment says, "Sir, mix a lot," and with a question mark behind it. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah, that's very true. Is that how you felt then as well? I don't understand that question. Be nice entertainment, but yeah, man. So you know that's the point. I'm gonna do a video on that because I want to do a video and I want to talk about where music was when we was growing up and where music is now, and I think you guys are gonna really be shocked for all my millennials. What music used to be like for us and what it took to get record deals and what music will be like in the future for us as it has lost its content. Music used to be a motivational thing. Now music is 5 minutes of fame. Like literally, we used to say get your 15 minutes of fame, but now it's get your 5 minutes of fame. Remember that, D?
Yep. 5 minutes of fame.
Oh my God.
Yeah, now 10 minutes.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I had to remove a troll.
Oh, okay. Good. I didn't see it. But gonna be surprising. Anyway, guys, we appreciate you, man, listening to this. Huh? All Be Nice Entertainment says it's not the young people. I give you that. I mean, when we say young people, it all depends on the way you're describing young. No, not teenagers, not 18, 19 years. But then again, it is as well. Because you know what, I'll be honest with you. You know what, you got a great point. I'm all for being corrected. It did start with the Adina Howards and the older people and the Trinas and Little Kims and Nicki Minaj's and all those. It did. The problem is it is getting to the point now where it's being taken to a whole nother level. There were levels to it, and there was some form of balance in it. Now it's being taken to a whole nother level, and that's the crazy part. And Vaughn Street Music says, I'm not shocked. I grew up in the P-Funk era. Well, go ahead, Vaughn Street Music.
Oh, yeah.
Lamar Lee
You
says,
and I both.
yeah, my mama loved P-Funk, man. Lamar Lee says, everything that is old is new again. Pay attention to trends. Yes, I agree with you 100%, brother. Be Nice Entertainment says, it's the old people who took advantage of us. Be Nice Entertainment, I like you. Cause and effect, yes it is. And at the end of the day, I'll tell you who's really to blame. It is the media giants, it's the media conglomerates. They control all this. They deregulate, they regulate, they control all of this, you know what I mean? If they want to censor anything, they can censor it, you know what I mean? So we don't control
absolutely.
that. It's really in their hands. So, it's not the old people, it's the people who really control this industry. You know what I mean? So anywhere go. Guys, look here, man. This has been another great podcast with my host, David E. Maxwell. Make sure, guys, you guys go to David E. Maxwell's website and check him out at Dem Beat Productions. And that website is davidemaxwellbeats.com. Guys, please go check out David E. Maxwell. And send him a request. Stop emailing me all the time and email David, man. Y'all email David. Say, look, man. You know what I'm saying? But no, guys, I appreciate all of you guys. Appreciate your interaction. Thank you guys for the great comments. Thank you for the interacting. We love all of you. We wish the best to all of you. We want all of you to succeed. And if we can make that happen, we will, guys. So with that said, David, anything that you want to add to conclude to this particular podcast and video live stream?
No, I just want to say, as always, we have some great times that we share. And, does everybody stay encouraged, Like this morning you had, a situation you had to handle.
Yeah. And
a lot of times we don't know, any given moment something can happen. And some things you just can't be ready for. So I just want to say, everybody, just be encouraged, man, and stay positive, as much as it is possible with you. Stay positive and continue to do what you do, and the forces of the universe will compensate you.
Yeah, and I appreciate you because you brought it back. And for those who don't know who's chiming in late, just real quick. So before me coming on here today, went to my son's school, me and my wife, to go drop off their Valentine's stuff because we forgot. And she went to one of my son's class. I went and took the youngest boy, my 5-year-old's class, and I went in and went to give the teacher the candy, and I was like, hey, how many students do you have in your class? And she was like, oh, 18, and she went through her explanation. I said, well, here's Miku's candy. So she was like, oh, where's Miku? And I'm like, what do you mean, where's Miku? And she was like, well, he's not in class. So she talks to the head teacher, his teacher, Miss Bowers, and she was like, "Oh, Miku hasn't been here. I marked him absent." So now, of course, this is like 8 o'clock, 8:15 in the morning, and I'm panicking because we sent our son off to school 6:30 this morning, and so it's the worst feeling ever. You know what I mean? Ever.
Yeah.
I mean that sinking feeling of not being in control. I have never felt anything like that in my entire life. And here I'm going classroom to classroom, and I'm thinking like, well, he wouldn't be in the class because one of the teachers like, you don't belong here, and all the different things are going in my head. And then I go to the nurses, and then she says, oh, well, yeah, he came in here 30 minutes ago to get Band-Aids, and I was like, oh, okay. For who? And she was like, his teacher. I was like, well, no, the teacher hasn't seen it. And then she realized, well, I was talking about your oldest son. So then it was like, the panic set in, and then the sheriff, who was sitting in the cafeteria eating breakfast with his daughter. I'm like, hey, they said he was down here eating breakfast, and he was like, I haven't seen him. So now it's like, it's on, like mentally, I'm done. I'm done the panic flushing because I'm powerless. And it's one thing as men, as we talked about this yesterday. Being in control and understanding anything can happen. And all that flashback, bro, was like completely powerless, not knowing where my son was. So I had to share that with you guys who are coming into this later on, because it was a feeling that I wouldn't wish on nobody, man. Like it was the worst thing ever. And then having to tell my wife this, so for 10 minutes, we panicking, 10 minutes, and something told me to go in the bathroom. I went to the bathroom and I yelled his name. And no one said anything, and so from the bathroom you can't see any of the stalls. So then I peek my head in there in the boys' bathroom, and I say his name again, and I see the little feet dangling, but I didn't know whether it was him or not, because my mind, your third eye is closed at this time instead of being open. Yeah. And as I say his name, he didn't say anything, so I'm like, that's not him. And so the door was cracked, and I'm like, Miku, Miku, Miku. And I looked and I saw his book bag, and I was like, open it up, and it's him. So he's sitting on the toilet, for however long, and even after seeing him, all I could do was just sit here and be like, what just happened? You know what I mean? Just like, what happened?
Yeah.
So, and then what
life being taken out of you, man.
Bruh.
I can only imagine, man.
Bruh. You know what I mean? The thing that scared me the most was to watch the school officials panic. That's what scared me, because they honestly didn't know what was going on. Like, they were lost, and I know, especially because I spoke with the principal, and everyone knows me here. Everyone knows who I am. The entire town, this whole region knows who I am. And so, I had to leave out. I let my wife deal with it. I had to live out because I'm crying, like I'm in tears. And I had to go outside. I didn't want, my son to see this. And so I'm in the car, and I'm doing my thing, and I'm on the phone with my mom. And I told my mom what just happened, and she's tripping even though we found him. And then, the principal comes outside, and then she's like, are you all right? Like, no, I'm not all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, why you ask me this stupid question? No, I'm not all right. Y'all lost my son, and y'all didn't know what he was, and then so I could see in her face, like, okay, we have to come up with something better. We're gonna have to do something better. And I'm like, obviously you do, because there should be not one time where you don't know where a child is.
Not at all, man. Not at all.
And for an hour and a half. My son sitting there. He went to breakfast. She saw him in breakfast. After that, no one knew where he was. It's like, who does that? So thank you, brother, for bringing that up, because I wanted to. I had to get it out. It was still on my chest, so I'm glad you brought that up, and thank you for everything that you said and did, man. And thank you guys for listening to that as well, man. Appreciate you guys. So we're going to close out this particular end of this podcast, and I'm going to let David close it out with our most famous words. D, handle that, brother.
Well, as always, music is life.
We out, family. Love y'all. See you. Wish you the best.
Peace.
Peace.